have you. In this session, we have Adam Althor from Saginaw Valley State University to deliver a presentation on available programs, undergraduate or graduate at their school. And then we have Jennifer Hunter from Rice University for graduate and postdocs. So I hope you find the programs appealing and interesting to your majors or your hopes and ambitions for a study experience in the US. And I'll leave it to Adam. The virtual floor is yours. Go ahead, Adam.
Thank you, Shem. My name is Adam Althor, and I have never been to Lebanon, but I've been all over the Middle East, and I lived in Egypt for 3 years. And I was deciding back at that time, do I want to go to AUB or AUC? And I had an admission letter from both schools, and I ended up going to AUC. And to some degree, I've regretted that because I really, just love what I hear about Lebanon. But I had a good time in Cairo too. And I graduated, I did grad school there, and then I came to Michigan, where I started working at Saginaw Valley State University 8 years ago. So my job here is mainly to be an advisor to international students. I do a little bit of recruiting, but my main job is to keep our students happy and legal here, is something we say during orientation. Because if you're not legal, you won't be happy. Exactly. So if you want to come to the US, you need to get an F1 visa. That's a student visa. And as an advisor, I help you to maintain that visa status throughout your program so that you can graduate and then do OPT, which is another popular thing, popular reason why students come to the USA, just to work after graduation for 1 to 3 years. So if possible, I'd like to share my screen with you.
Yes.
Show you a little bit of pictures and information about SVSU. Okay, slideshow from beginning. So Saginaw Valley State University is a public university in Michigan. You can see this is what the front gate of the university looks like. Very green, a lot of fresh air. It struck me when I came from Cairo, the fresh air, because we are not in an urban environment. We are very much a suburban campus, which is not for everybody. If you're looking for Beirut type environment, we are probably not for you. But if you like the natural setting, lots of beautiful scenery, fresh air, then we could be a very good school for you. Also, you save a little bit of money if you're not in a big city center. So if you're on a tight budget, then it could also be a good school for you. So I'm going to touch on all these different things, just an intro to the university, the campus, the features, some of our majors. I'll focus on the undergraduate programs, which is most of what we offer. We just have a few graduate programs as well. University life, student services, some of the fun things, the extracurricular, the غير منهجي things that we offer, and the admissions requirements, additional requirements, and scholarships. And feel free to unmute and stop me at any point, and if you have any questions. Okay, so like I said, SVSU is a public university, and we have been as high as 9,000 students. Right now, we're actually closer to 7,000 students. I need to update my PowerPoint here, but when you look at undergrad, we're closer to 7,000, and it really has a small school feel to it. There are some universities where you're going to be surprised when you walk into class the first day, how many students are there with you in class. We are not that. We have small class sizes, on average 24 students per class. Classes here are never taught by what you call a GA or a TA, a grad assistant or a teacher assistant. They're always taught by faculty members who are focused on their teaching. That's another thing that some of the bigger schools do is oftentimes the faculty at those schools, the professors, are very focused on their research and not as much on their teaching. So that way a lot of the teaching gets kind of delegated to the GAs and the TAs. And when you're paying a lot of money for tuition, that can be kind of disappointing. But at SVSU, we have a very large focus on the professors doing the teaching. And 84% of our faculty have PhDs. The rest are what we call our adjunct faculty, our part-time faculty members. And we are located in Michigan's Great Lakes Bay region. So here's the US. Michigan is in this kind of central region, which we call the Midwest. And we are surrounded by the lakes, the Great Lakes, which is a real beautiful part of the US. Lakes that are so big that when you go to the beach, it really looks like you're looking out at the ocean. But these are freshwater lakes, and it's only about 20 minutes away from campus is the Lake Huron, Saginaw Bay. Closest cities would be Detroit, which is in the southeast part of Michigan. And then a bigger city would be Chicago. That's about 5 hours away in Illinois. And Toronto is actually only about 4.5 hours. That's in Canada, of course. But that's even closer than Chicago. So here's Michigan. We are in the middle of the state. It's very flat here, kind of an agricultural setting. Oops, I'm going backwards. Sorry about that. You kind of see how the campus looks. Very green, sprawling campus. It was voted best in the state of Michigan. So students, that's one of the first things we hear when new international students arrive is, wow, what a beautiful campus you have. Okay, we have over 90 different majors and minors to select from. These are what we call the different colleges. So we have the College of Arts and Behavior Science, the College of Business Management, College of Education, College of Health and Human Services, and College of Science, Engineering, and Technology. Our most popular programs would be mechanical engineering, computer science, computer information systems. Those all fall under the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology. And then our nursing program is very popular. In fact, it's the biggest nursing program in the state. And business is also quite popular too. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about our accreditation. We have a high accreditation for our College of Business and Engineering programs. These are accreditations, AACSB, an accreditation that only 5% of business schools have worldwide. And ABET is a very strong accreditation for engineering. Mechanical is our most popular program, largely because of the auto industry here in Michigan. A lot of our students end up working for the auto companies or some type of company that serves the auto industry. For example, in Saginaw, the largest company is Saginaw Steering, Next Year it's called now. And that's a company that makes the steering equipment for the auto companies. So if you're good at math and you're thinking about mechanical engineering, then great place to study. Okay, I'm going to skip over that. Chemistry is also very popular. The Dow Chemical Company is headquartered just a half an hour west of us in Midland, Michigan. So the chemistry program is quite popular. We also have a chemical physics program and a business chemistry program. And biology is quite popular too, in part because of the Great Lakes. It's a great place to do research on the water. And we also have some pharmaceutical companies in Michigan that our students will go on to do biology research with. So bio and chem, quite popular as well. So a lot of our campus is kind of newly renovated, constructed over the past 15, 20 years. I'll just kind of show some of those buildings. The library has been recently renovated. Very nice building here, which we call the Groening Commons. This is also where we have our theater, where we have our intercultural night, variety show, talent show every March. Great way for international students to show off some of their talents. Pioneer Hall is where our science, engineering, and technology classes are. And this is our Health and Human Services building. Kind of looks like a hospital when you walk in there. They have a full nursing lab, occupational therapy as well, lots of kind of medical dummies around and hospital beds, and it's kind of a full-fledged, looks kind of like a medical school. And you could see here some of our student events. The picture on the left here is our Holi Festival that our South Asian students participate in. A lot of our students work on campus. And there's a lot of research opportunities as well, kind of internships, faculty-led research. And of course, the varsity sports. We are a Division II sports university. This is a football game here. Very nice housing. It was voted best in the state of Michigan on niche.com. You could see the University Village on the left. Those are some of our nice dorms that are kind of like a townhouse, upstairs, downstairs for every unit, shared kitchen. So you could actually do some cooking on your own if you want to make your, food with tameya. You can get the ingredients and cook in your own kitchen. You don't have to eat the food in the dining hall. I don't know if you have food in tameya, maybe falafel and things like that in Lebanon, right? Shawarma, of course. We actually have some really nice restaurants, Arabic restaurants in the state of Michigan. You probably know there's a large Lebanese community in the Detroit area. That's only about 90 minutes away. In fact, there's a very famous Lebanese pastry shop called Shatila in Dearborn that makes, baklawa and some of the Lebanese sweets that we love so much. Okay, so let's move through the dorms a little bit. These are other student clubs, which we call registered student organizations. On Thursday nights, they have movie night. The picture on the top is what we call a alternative spring break trip. So during spring break, a lot of our students will go to an area where charitable help is needed, and they will, for example, build a house or help to repair some type of infrastructure. So those are good events. We have a band on the right, concerts, just fun stuff, academic competitions. Since we're not in a city, there's not really a bustling nightlife. So really what our students do is they get jobs on campus, they get involved in research, they join a fraternity, sorority, and they get active in the student organizations. That's how you fill your time. We also have off-campus internship opportunities as well. A lot of clubs. These are just a kind of a sample list of our clubs here. You can see that some are academic in nature, mechanical engineering. We also have the Formula One race team, which is run by our mechanical engineering department. They actually construct a race car and race against other universities. A lot of fun for our engineering majors. And the other one I want to call your attention to is the International Student Club. Almost every university in the US has an International Student Club, but we really focus on it here at SVSU. What I mean by that is one of the advisors in our office advises the club, and they meet every Tuesday night on campus. They meet at 10 o'clock at night, too late for me, but they meet at that time because there's no classes at that time. So all of our students theoretically are available. And sometimes they have 40, 50 students that go to the meetings. And it's just a lot of fun. They plan events. It's just a great way to make friends when you first arrive. It becomes an important kind of social network and a way to just get a sense of belonging at the university when you're new and you don't know anyone. So definitely recommend the International Student Club. As I was saying last week, we had our International Food Festival, which is kind of our flagship event for International Education Week. And at that event, all of our international students cook dishes from their home countries and serve it to the whole campus community in the dining hall. And it's excellent food, very, very good. Okay, study abroad. This is when SVSU students go abroad to study. They go to other countries, something that international students also have the ability to do. So yeah, you can see that we've got partnerships all over the world for study abroad. Some of our athletics here, we even have a cricket pitch. If you're into cricket, football, basketball, track and field, softball, golf. We have ladies tennis and men's and women's swimming and diving as well, all Division II. All right, so I'm going to run through some of the admissions requirements. Your admission for a bachelor's degree program is strictly based on your high school GPA. And if you've already taken some college credits, then we'll also want to see your college transcript. But we will do the calculation ourselves of the GPA. So if it's, for example, out of 100 in Lebanon, we will convert it to the 4-point scale. And we are looking for a 2.5 GPA. That will be good for admission, and that will also get you our main scholarship for international students, which is what we call the Red and White Scholarship. It is a scholarship that gets you close to the in-state tuition rate. And I say close because there's actually a $1,500 difference. But it's a very good rate, and in my experience, it's hard for international students to get a better deal unless they're going to a community college. So we are very proud to be among the most affordable universities for international students in the country, really. So as far as four-year schools, it's an excellent deal. Other things we need to see is a bank statement, evidence of financial support, a copy of your passport, and SAT or ACT not required. Now for Lebanon, we would need to see English language proficiency scores. And that would be IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, or PTE. Duolingo has quickly become very popular because it's easy and cheap to take. $49, take it on your mobile phone on demand. So looking for an 85 Duolingo score. So any one of those 4 test scores would be good. If you've taken SAT, a 900 score would satisfy this requirement too. Okay, this applies. So if you've studied in the US, in a high school in the US, we would waive the language requirement if you had a 2.0 GPA at a US high school. Okay, and this is graduate, so I'm just going to breeze over that. And I've touched on that. So our Red and White Scholarship, like I said, it gets you close to the in-state tuition rate. It's nice because you get to keep the scholarship all 4 years. So it's not just a one-time thing. That's something students really need to look out for. A lot of universities will give them a very big scholarship, but it's only good for the first year. Okay, that can leave you in a very difficult situation for the next, second, third, and fourth years. Red and white, you keep it all 4 years. If you can get a job on campus, you can use that as supplemental income. There's a lot of ways to kind of minimize your costs. Okay, I'm not sure if there's anyone who's studied in the US as part of the YES program, the Kennedy Lugar YES program.
Yes.
We've got an additional scholarship of $1,500 per year for any YES alumni.
Great.
So that can get you truly to the in-state tuition rate when you combine that with a red and white scholarship. And for some students, if you have taken the SAT and you're up over 1,000 in the composite score, we will add an additional scholarship. We'll stack the President's International Scholarship on top of the red and white. Okay, Career Services Office helps a lot of our international students get jobs on or off campus. International students in the US can work up to 20 hours a week on campus. So if you're working 20 hours a week, earning the Michigan minimum wage, $13 an hour, which has been updated. So I apologize, I'm borrowing an old PowerPoint, but it is no longer $8.90. You could be adding another $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year, which can really be an important supplement to the money that you have available to pay for school. You can see we get some snow in the winter, so it's a lot colder than Lebanon, although you all get snow too up in the mountains, so maybe that's not so big a problem. But it's beautiful. We really get all 4 seasons. If you go to Florida, it's like summer all year round. I really appreciate how we have a hot summer, but the fall is totally different. The leaves are falling. And then in the winter, we get snowstorms. It really keeps you on your toes with all the change of weather. And when we get a lot of snow, they cancel school. So the university closes, which is always a bonus, right? So again, I apologize for the old dates here, but the deadlines are always July 1st for the fall, November 1st for the winter semester. And here's my info if you want to reach out to me. I would encourage you to look us up on Instagram. SVSU International is our handle. A lot of student videos and just a great way to get a feel for what it's like to be an international student at the university. Check out the social media, Instagram and Facebook. Again, that's at SVSU International. And I think that's all I have. You'll find a lot more info on our website here about admission requirements. And if you want to get in touch with a current student to ask for the student's perspective, let me know. I'll be happy to put you in touch with someone. Any questions?
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Adam. Maybe if someone might be typing their questions, we'd leave them until the end. We have Jennifer just joined us from Rice University. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for joining us today.
Sure. Thanks for having us. I enjoy being here.
Anything for U.S. institutions, we're trying our best to promote for U.S. studies, especially in these times in Lebanon. It's really a chance that we're trying to push for. So Jennifer is here as well to talk about graduate and postdoc programs primarily. So Jennifer, there you go. I leave the floor to you.
Okay, great. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And let's see if I can do this smoothly. technology. Let's see. Okay, share, and I'm going to start my slideshow. All right. So if you don't know anything about Rice University, allow me to be your introduction. So my name is Jennifer Hunter. I work in the Office of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies here at Rice. And my office is just right over here in this photo. I like this photo a lot because it kind of shows the location of Rice, where we are in Houston, Texas. So main part of campus here, kind of the central front door to our campus. Over here on the left, you'll see downtown Houston, and then also this kind of green space behind us. This is our big park next to the university called Herman Park. We have a museum district where our arts museum and our natural science museum and our children's museum are all within walking distance. So it's a really good place to be. You feel like you're in this big city without feeling like you're really in the thick of it. Very nice, beautiful campus. I hope you can kind of see a little bit about our campus here. And I did want to just take one more opportunity to thank our host, Education USA, for having us here today as well. You are all in great hands. You are being led by experts in education in the USA. And so, of course, please turn to them for all of your questions about studying in the United States. Rice University is a pretty small university. So we're a small private university in Houston. We are an R1 institution, meaning that we focus heavily on research and different research opportunities as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about Rice. So I work with two student groups on campus. The first one that you see here, these are our graduate student ambassadors. So this is me in the middle. And of course, our Dean Matsuda is over here, the Dean of Graduate Students. Really, our ambassadors are meant to be a face of the university for prospective students. And so if you have questions about studying in the United States, maybe, what a specific graduate program is like or what the requirements are, certainly you should feel encouraged to reach out to any of our graduate student ambassadors. And I'll share a link to contact them in the chat after this brief presentation. Another group that I'm really honored to work with is our Fulbright group. And so you can see them here. This is a trip that we took to NASA Johnson Space Center about 1 month ago. And so we like to get together for lunch a couple times a month. We also like to do things in Houston outside of the university. And so if you're interested in graduate study and you're looking for ways to fund your graduate study, certainly you should think about Fulbright. Your Education USA advisors can tell you all about the Fulbright program and what you need to do to apply and be, have a good application for that program. So definitely encourage you to explore that. It will give you funding for your master's or your PhD study in the United States. And it's a really prestigious fellowship as well. So if you're even, in the application process, it's always a really good thing to talk about in your application, either on your CV or your statement of purpose. Any fellowships that you're applying for or that you have won, always a really good idea to talk about in your application to graduate school. It shows the faculty that you are putting yourself out there, that you're pretty committed to pursuing these opportunities. And so you really want to highlight and call those things out. All right. This is one more photo of our Fulbright group as well. We do a lot of different things here at Rice University. Certainly the Fulbright group does things like pumpkin carvings. This is something that is typical of the US in fall, an activity that we do. And certainly our international office does a lot of events like this as well. They have language groups and teas and lunches and all kinds of activities for students that are studying in the university. So a little bit more about Rice. So we offer graduate programs in the schools that you see on your screen here. So architecture, business, continuing studies. This is would be teaching, engineering, humanities, music, natural science, and social sciences. We're very well known for STEM programs primarily, but we do have a wonderful architecture school and a music school as well. So if these are avenues of interest for you, we should definitely talk more. And I also wanted to tell you about the degrees that we offer at Rice. So there's three kinds of graduate degrees that Rice University offers, and these are pretty typical across the United States. So doctoral degree, this is going to be basically the ultimate degree that you can get. It is a thesis-based degree, so you will write a thesis, and that will take usually 4 to 6 years to complete. It is a fully funded program, and so what that means is typically for PhD programs in the United States, you will be offered a tuition waiver and you will be offered a stipend that supports your cost of living. And it's very typical in the United States to apply to these doctoral programs directly from your bachelor's degree. So you do not need a master's degree to apply to a PhD. We often get questions from students that say, well, I don't have a master's and maybe I should take the master's first because that will give me an edge in the application for a PhD. And it might help you focus your research, but we have not seen, master's students be selected more over bachelor's students. So I would encourage you, if you know you're thinking about a research career, maybe you want to be a professor, certainly I would encourage you to apply directly to the doctoral program. And then we have research-based master's degrees. So a lot of the times this would be your thesis master's, an MS or an MA, and these can be usually earned in about 2 years. And again, you will write a thesis as part of this degree. At Rice University, these are usually part of the PhD program. And so you would earn a master's as part of the PhD. But there are a few programs that do offer the master's, the thesis master's, kind of as a standalone degree. And funding might be available, but it might not be as much as the PhD funding. So you may get a tuition waiver, but you may not automatically get a stipend. You may have to compete or apply for maybe a research assistant position or a teaching assistant position. So something to consider there when you're trying to figure out what financially makes the most sense for your career goals. And then, of course, we have professional master's degrees. These are non-thesis degrees that can be completed pretty quickly. So within a year or two, you will have your master's degree, and they do provide an edge in industry. And so if you know you want to go into industry, into the corporate world, this is a really good way to get that level of career and to earn a little bit more money as well. But the other side of that is that funding usually is not available for these degrees. So usually there's going to be very few scholarships or fellowships available. So again, it's really important to know about the different degree types out there so that you can make good decisions for your finances and for your future. Graduate study can be a significant time investment and financial investment. So really make sure that you think through all of the reasons you want to go to grad school and make sure you have your why defined essentially. So I just wanted to reiterate this one more time. So any doctoral student that is accepted to Rice University does receive full tuition support as well as a stipend. And the stipend is basically a paycheck, and that will help you to cover your cost of living expenses. So, the stipend will vary by program. Usually at Rice, these stipends average about $30,000 a year. And really it's to support you during your PhD, making sure that you can afford your rent and buy groceries and do all the fun things that you'd like to do while you're a graduate student here in the United States. So these are some general admissions requirements for Rice, but certainly each department may have their own requirements. Typically, we would ask for a grade point average of 3.0 or higher, or the equivalent of that. The GRE and GMAT scores are required for our School of Business, but they are waived for most other programs. And we'll talk about GRE broadly a little bit more. We also ask international applicants to provide a TOEFL, an IELTS, or a Duolingo exam score, and this is your English proficiency exam. You can request a waiver as well, and so some programs, if you've been instructed in English as part of your bachelor's or your master's degree, you can certainly request a waiver for this requirement to your department. And then I just wanted to state, one more time, the master's degree is not required for a PhD admission. And so really important to know that if you're thinking about a research career and you know that ultimately you want to get a PhD, certainly you can apply directly from your bachelor's. I did want to talk more broadly about the components of the application that you're going to see during your graduate study. And so we'll talk about this from the viewpoint of Rice, but certainly this is broadly applicable to other schools in the United States you may be applying to. And so transcripts is something that you will commonly be asked for as part of the application. You can feel really encouraged to submit your unofficial transcripts at Rice. We do not need your official transcripts until after you are admitted. And I know that can cost a little bit of money. Sometimes your schools will charge you to send those transcripts. So certainly you can send the unofficial ones and save yourself a little bit of money during the application process. Your graduate record examination scores are typically required as part of graduate programs, but more and more you see these scores being waived. And there's a couple of reasons for it. Of course, COVID is one reason. It's very hard. It's been hard to get out and take that test. Another reason is that, many schools are realizing that this is not quite so an essential part of the application as it used to be. For domestic students, for American students, they're often trained in how to take these kinds of tests from a very early age. And we know that this might not be as common for international students, and it can be very complicated when trying to figure out how to apply. So I think you'll see more and more often that these scores are being waived. English language proficiency, of course, is going to be a part of the application. And then application fee. I will share a link at the end of our chat where if you would like to have an application fee waiver, you can request one from Rice University. I would encourage you to always ask for application fee waivers. It doesn't hurt. It shouldn't count against you in the application process. And the worst that a school can say is no. So certainly you should feel encouraged to reach out and request application fee waivers from the schools that you're applying to. Proof of financial support is something that you may be asked for. Typically, this is for master's programs where you're paying tuition. And really what they want to see, of course, they want to make sure that you can pay tuition, but they really want to make sure that you're going to be able to live comfortably while you're completing your degree. And so it's very important to submit these documents that they're asking for. This could be something like a bank statement. This could be something like a scholarship notification that you've won a scholarship, or perhaps that you've gotten a loan. And so those things are really important to make sure that you've got all your documentation in order. Letters of recommendation, usually you will need 3 letters of recommendation, and we'll talk more about that as well. I want to give you a little bit more information. Your personal statement or your statement of purpose. So usually, at a certain point in your academic career, things are kind of set. You can't change your grades, you can't change your transcripts, but you do have some control over different parts of the application. And personal statement certainly is one of those where you have a lot of control over. Diversity statement is something that you may be asked for on graduate applications. And, this really is about how you're going to contribute to a diverse campus community. So Rice University is about 25% international across the board. It's a little bit higher for graduate students. I think we're closer to 30%. So you're going to be joining students from all over the world. And really what you want to show with a diversity statement is, how are you going to contribute to this campus community? And what do you expect of the peers that you will have during graduate school? I would encourage you to complete everything on the application and don't leave anything blank. Every blank space is an opportunity for you to talk to the admissions committee. So make sure you're filling all of these things in when you have the opportunity to. CV or resume is another really important component of the application that you do have some control over. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. And then, of course, if you're going for a research degree, it may be important to show research experience. You don't need publications to apply to one of these research programs. But if you've got a course project that you'd like to highlight or some interesting findings, certainly we would encourage you to upload that as additional documentation. So I did want to talk some more about the individual components. And so recommendation letters are really important for a lot of programs. You may not always be asked for recommendation letters, but be thoughtful when you are. Be thoughtful about who you want to have represent you. And so for PhD or research masters, certainly academic letters will be a strength to your application. And so make sure you have at least one letter from a professor or maybe a research advisor. My tip to you is when you are reaching out to your recommenders, when you email them, send them your CV and kind of give them a highlight reel of the things that you've accomplished. And this will help them maybe focus their letter a little bit. Also, let them know what the deadline for this letter is. You don't need it to be the same deadline as the application. You know, maybe you can make your deadline a couple weeks earlier so that they're submitting those letters on time, but certainly let them know the deadline and let them know you're going to be following up with them and making sure that there's nothing that they need to help get this letter done. And then just make sure you're carefully reviewing all of the submission requirements. How will the letter be submitted? Do you submit it as part of the application, or does the recommender directly send it in? What are the instructions for the letter, and what is the format that needs to be used? So make sure you let your recommenders that you're requesting letters from, make sure you let them know these details as well. That'll be really helpful in making sure your letter is on time and correct and complete. So statement of purpose, this is really the ultimate way that you can speak to the admissions committee. And so you might be asked for other writing samples as well, but certainly for research degrees, the statement of purpose is going to be the document that outlines why you want this degree, what you're interested in working on, and then after you finish the degree, what do you want to do in your career and in your life? What do you hope to go and accomplish? These essays should be school specific. So my colleague in Michigan would love to get letters from students that are interested in studying at Michigan. Similarly, I would be interested in making sure that your letter is formatted for Rice University. So make sure you're speaking to the correct admissions committee. Make sure it's tailored to the committee that you're speaking with. And then this is an opportunity to show your command of language. I would recommend, of course, just like the recommendation letters, read all of the instructions very carefully and make sure that you're following all those instructions correctly. But if there's no word limit, and you can certainly, maybe take a little bit of time in describing your journey, but it's an opportunity to show your command of language. And my advice to you is to say as much as you can with as few words as possible. So keep it simple, use very engaging and vivid language. Think about how you would want to be drawn in by a piece of writing, and how maybe you would speak to somebody when you're telling your story, and try to write the same way that you will speak. Okay, so do you need a faculty match? This is a question that we're often asked about grad programs. And so with research masters or a PhD, it's relatively common in the US to approach faculty that you might want to work with. And some programs will have this match be kind of a requirement, right? You need to have this relationship with a faculty member built while you are applying to the program. Other programs may have a cohort-based admission. So what that means is the faculty match is not essential. You'll be admitted as part of a cohort, and then you'll have the opportunity to speak with potential advisors in your first semester or your first year before you're ultimately matched with somebody. And so it's very important when you're doing your research about the faculty that you want to work with, what the program expects and what the model is for that program. So how do you approach faculty? Certainly, we'd encourage you to email them and make sure that you do your homework. Make sure that you're researching all the different works that are happening in a department. Be engaging. Ask faculty members thoughtful questions that show that you did their research. Make it easy for them to want to respond to you. And make sure you sell yourself. I would recommend, once again, attaching your CV, maybe including a bulleted highlight reel that makes it very easy for a busy faculty member to get to know you quickly and get to know kind of what you're interested in. I would also say that the faculty may not be familiar with your university, with your grading scale. Educate the faculty that you're talking to. Let them know, you know, I graduated with this rank in my class, or my university is well known for this in my country. Really important to help educate a faculty member, an admissions committee member potentially, about you and your university. And don't be discouraged if you do not get a response. So I would say the majority of faculty, they're getting these emails. They may not respond right away. They may not respond at all. Certainly, you could wait a couple of weeks and email them again. If there is no response, I would say I would leave it alone at that. And the next thing to do would be to reach out to graduate students in their labs. So it's possible that the faculty member may not be taking students, or perhaps they may not have funding this semester. And it's good to reach out to grad students because they often know that information, and they can give you a good picture of what it's like to work with that person. And so they'll have all the gossip, as we say. So really important to reach out to current grad students as well. Most labs will have the grad students listed. At Rice, we have an open directory, and you're certainly welcome to search for and reach out to graduate students. So a little more about Rice University. I did want to talk a little bit more about us. We are a small university. As I said, we have about 4,000 graduate students and 4,000 undergraduates. And so you can see, you know, we're really focused on the graduate side of things, on the research side of things, and our grad students have a significant amount of power and voice on our campus. I would say the annual event for us that we all look forward to each year is Culture Night. And so this is an event hosted by our international office. It's a way for us to celebrate the different kinds of diversity on our campus. For me, it's very fun because I get to eat all of the very tasty food from around the world. Certainly there's entertainment and other activities as well, but something that we all look forward to because it is a way to celebrate our international diversity here on campus. Rice University is not known for athleticism, so to speak. I know many schools in the United States are known for things like American football. Our pinnacle event each year is Beer Bike, and that is exactly what it sounds like. It is a bicycle race that's held every spring. Certainly, you don't need to drink beer to participate. I do not drink, but I still like to go and enjoy the spectacle that is the bicycle race. But that is kind of what our grad students look forward to in the spring. And then, of course, Rice Pride Festivals are another way to support our diverse campus community. I did want to take a moment to talk about Houston as well. So if you do not know, Houston is the 4th largest city in the United States, behind New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. So we are the 4th largest. We're also the most diverse city in the United States. So I get a lot of feedback from our friends in New York that say, well, I think you're wrong there, but it is true. We are the most diverse city, and we're very proud of that. And we're also very glad to live in this city that is so diverse because it offers us a lot of different opportunities for entertainment, for cultural exchange, and certainly for eating very delicious food as well. I'm a pretty food motivated individual, so I do talk about food a lot. Apologies. A little bit more about Houston. If you like professional sports, we certainly have a lot of different sports. We have football, American football, baseball, basketball. So it runs the gamut of all the different sporting events that you can go and see. Lots of different museums as well. And so it's a really cultural city, and it's a really great place to explore and learn, which we all really appreciate. We have pretty warm weather in Houston all year round. So we have a lot of green space. It's starting to be winter here in Houston. So I'm not sure what it is in Celsius, but it's about 50 degrees Fahrenheit here today. So a little bit chilly, but certainly we do not really get snow. It's a very rare occasion to get ice and things like that. So it's a nice place to be outside all year round. We have a pretty low cost of living too, compared to maybe New York or California or Boston. And so it's very affordable, and your stipend, if you're a PhD student or a master's student, your stipend will go a long way, which is really helpful when you're trying to plan your life for a few years. So I would encourage you, scholarships are great. Make sure though that the stipend that you're being offered, if you're planning on pursuing one of these degrees, is enough that you can live comfortably. Because even if you get a great scholarship, if your stipend is not large enough for you to live comfortably in a city, you may not be very happy a year or two into that program. If you're thinking about coming to graduate school with a partner, certainly we have many Fortune 500 companies, lots of industry related to space travel, related to oil and gas and energy, and related to healthcare. We're also the home of the world's largest medical center. And so the Texas Medical Center is the world's largest. It has about 20 different hospitals, I think about 40 different institutions altogether, including universities, 100,000 employees. So it really is a city unto itself. I like this photo because it again shows Rice University kind of over here on the left. We also see downtown Houston in the background. And then in the foreground, all of that is the Texas Medical Center. And we're very fortunate to collaborate on healthcare related research with doctors and surgeons and different research administrators. So very fortunate for our location in Houston and the work that we can do to contribute to humanity. I did want to also point out we have an event coming up. It's called the Gulf Coast Undergraduate Research Symposium. So if you're not quite ready for graduate study, but you're interested maybe in exploring research and exploring what is out there, I would encourage you to apply. And so this is a really good opportunity to present your work. You would give a 10 to 12 minute presentation. You would be able to meet different students and different faculty in the program areas at Rice. And certainly you get to polish your presentation skills as well. So really great event. Please feel free to sign up for updates, and I hope you would join us at that. And this might be my last slide. Let's see here. Yeah, so I can open it up to questions. I'm happy to talk about anything that might be on your mind that's related to graduate study in the US, different applications and things of that sort. And I did promise you a fee waiver link, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to go ahead and put that link in the chat because I want to make sure to get that to you as well. Okay, and for fee waivers, you can request one here. So any questions? Things on your mind? Yes, Russia. So the question is about tuition support for doctoral studies and what is the length of that? So typically it covers 10 semesters. So 5 years of PhD study will be fully covered by a tuition waiver and a stipend. And it's not a scholarship that you need to apply for separately. So the only application you need to submit is the PhD application for study. And if you are accepted to a PhD student, you will automatically get this deal. So great question. Yes, it's automatic. No separate application is needed. Deadlines for applying to fall 2023 vary. And so most of them are coming up relatively soon. I think the earliest deadlines we have start December 1st and then go through maybe January or February, but it really depends on the program that you're applying to. Because Rice has decentralized admissions, it means every program makes their own decisions about the application deadline and makes their own decisions about the admissions process too. So another great question. Yes, I wish I could give you a hard answer. And Reem, if you want to tell me your program you're studying, I can certainly find that out for you. BS in biology. Oh, Bachelor of Science. That's a good question. I don't know for undergrads. Let's see. If you're going for a grad degree in biology, it would be December 1st, but the undergrad deadline for application, let me check. This also looks like December 1st for the undergraduates, but I'll put a link in the chat here as well. Yeah, great question.
All right. Any other questions to Jennifer or Adam, since we have 5 more minutes left for questions that whether it's about Saginaw Valley State University and wow, what a wonderful campus you have. Like, I mean, also at Rice, if I can go back in time, I would do my undergrad in Saginaw Valley and then just move south to Rice.
You get all the different
We
kinds
don't
of
have
weather.
a problem in this case.
Yeah.
Food seems to be like something common between Adam and yourself today. I hope you like Lebanese food.
Oh,
Lebanese
absolutely.
sweet, perhaps. Yeah. All right. It seems. I mean, the Lebanese menu is like almost everywhere in the US and everywhere in the world. I mean, whatever. I personally went to conferences, whether it's probably not in Eastern Asia. Kind of did not like get into there, but the Mediterranean menu is basically not just the Lebanese. So
It's
Yeah,
pretty
certainly in
broad. It is
Michigan.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say we have the most Arabs per capita
Yeah,
in Michigan,
yeah.
and most of them are down in that southeastern part where Detroit is.
Yeah,
So no shortage of great restaurants down that way.
yeah.
It's my sport. Eating is my sport.
Okay.
So the question from Rasha is, if someone holds a professional master's from a university in Lebanon or the US, can one still apply for a PhD program? And so, yeah, so you don't necessarily need research experience to apply for a PhD. And certainly anyone who has had industry experience or who holds a master's degree has valuable experience for a PhD program. And so certainly I would encourage you to apply if you're interested.
I mean, that's a great option. I mean, having the option to apply from your bachelor's directly to a PhD program, that's one advantage. I mean, that's great. It's a great option.
Yeah, I didn't mean to discourage master's students. If you have a master's degree, certainly you're welcome to apply to a PhD as well. But it is common to apply directly from bachelor's.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of tips, like kind of inside information as well.
Sure.
To the application. But I have a question about the Gulf Coast Undergraduate Research Symposium. Does it have any fees, or is it like free for students to join?
Yeah, it's free to participate. So all you would need to do is late summer, maybe submit an application, and then we will have probably in-person and virtual components next year. So no cost to participate. Lots of great information will be shared, not just about research, but also about preparing for a graduate study in the US.
All right. All right. Any other questions? Perfect. As I always say at the end of the session, if any of our participants have questions, please do send them directly to Adam and Jennifer. They'd be happy to help. And if not, just send them to us at Education USA Lebanon, and we'll be happy to forward those questions and provide you with the answer. There you go. Jennifer's email is in the chat. We'll make sure also to send you that link for requesting the fee waiver. If you haven't caught on that, we'll send it in the follow-up email as well. Adam's email is there. I want to thank you both so much for participating, and we'd love to always have you. I mean, this is a great presentation and a great variety of programs and choices. I hope the presentations get our students more interested in US study with all the available options that they're seeing throughout this week, together with the other programs. So thank you so much again, and stay warm, since Adam, I think, is to the north. So I hope you're warm enough.
We had snow last night, so.
Oh, great. Yeah. So yeah, and I mean that's a great point for the Lebanese, that they have experienced snow, so it wouldn't be a problem for them.
Right.
And it's a great it's a great place. I mean, when you have like nature is acting as it should be, like winter is defined, spring is defined, fall is defined. It's not like all the seasons are like kind of confused as it is today.
As it is in Houston often.
Yeah.
But thank you again.
Perfect.
Good to meet you, Adam. Thank you so much.
You as well.
Yeah, thank you guys. Hopefully have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.